What they didn't tell me about Zoloft is that Zoloft is only one small piece of the overall journey in healing through anxiety. That Zoloft is only one small fraction of healing through anxiety. And that is what we are going to uncover today so that we can bring even more of our true selves and the power, the clarity, and the peace that comes from living from this place into our lives. So, welcome to another opportunity to learn, unlearn, grow, and evolve together. So, when I talk about how Zoloft is only a small piece, what I'm referring to is that actually Zoloft is only kind of taking off some of the edge on top and relieving the symptom of anxiety. However, there's much more work to be done underneath because what's actually bringing our anxiety into our experience, because anxiety is a symptom of being disconnected from ourselves, is internal wounds or psychological wounds, or what's commonly used to refer to these psychological wounds is trauma. Trauma that happened within our experience. And I know when I say the word trauma, you're probably thinking, well, trauma, like I haven't had any catastrophic events that have happened in my life. Like, I haven't been to things like war, or I haven't had domestic violence as part of my experience. And typically, when we hear trauma, we think big, we think massive, terrible events that happen within our lives. And the way that trauma is being referred to today and defined today as we do more research on it, and this is from a neurologist named Robert Scare, who defines trauma as any negative life event that occurs in our lives in a state of relative helplessness, which means that we weren't able to be in control during this experience or able to help ourselves in whatever situation was happening that was a negative life event. And there's another gentleman, his name's Gabor Mate, if you're familiar with him. He is a renowned medical doctor who has dedicated his life to trauma. And he says that he goes the step further in saying that trauma could be something that has happened to us, or it could be something that should have happened to us that didn't. And so you could punch somebody in the face, really shock them. It could be a traumatic event. They didn't see it coming, right? That could be traumatic. Or something like not giving somebody water is an example that he used. That is also traumatic. And then he goes even a step further in saying that imagine as children, we have very important emotional needs. And if those important emotional needs aren't met, like being seen or soothed when we're crying, when we need attention, when we're asking for the attention of one of our parental figures, but they're not giving it to us, these type of experiences can also be traumatic or referred to as trauma, and they can create internal wounds that, if not processed, can serve into different symptoms like anxiety or depression or even physical ailments as well. And that's what I am currently uncovering within this book also, which is The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. And so the reason that I bring this up when talking about healing through anxiety and talking about Zoloft is because Zoloft is great for giving us clarity, for taking away some of the challenges of anxiety, the incessant thinking or the rapid heart rate or the constant state of feeling like you're in fight or flight, right? And we can go even a step further while we're on Zoloft to going to the emotions that are unresolved and the psychological wounds that have not been given the proper attention that they need. And so Zoloft is something that can be very beneficial in giving you space to work on those psychological wounds that are underneath, that really are often the source of our pain, the source of our inability to be present, the source of our inability to feel relaxed in certain situations. whether it be within our workplaces or whether it be within intimate relationships. And so being able to work with these experiences and these internal wounds, because they're very real, although they're invisible, so they don't get the attention maybe that they need, right? And they're harder to kind of spot. When we could see and recognize some of these things as really just wounds that need proper attention and care and love, really that's what it comes down to, is being loved while we're healing these experiences, then we could open up an even greater flavor, juice of life. And so I wanted to make this video specifically because I wish I knew this when I first went to therapy. I wish I knew this when I first started experiencing anxiety. I wish I knew this when I was told to go on an SSRI, to go on a medication, to go on Zoloft, because this would have been what I believe now. You know, I haven't been on Zoloft in many years, 7 years, but I believe that knowledge would have significantly impacted the different healing modalities that I would have taken advantage of back then. It would have drastically changed how I was viewing myself, because I was very critical of myself when I was experiencing that anxiety. I was aggravated with myself for not being able to move past the anxiety at a quicker rate. And so I was replacing compassion for myself with being critical to myself. And that took me longer to get to the place that I'm at now, because I didn't really recognize the truth of what was going on. And so I make this video for anybody who is in that part of their journey, and that this could essentially liberate and allow you to give compassion to yourself and allow you to look at your healing journey maybe from a different perspective, and maybe take some of the pressure off that you've been putting on yourself for having this experience in your life in the first place. And so some of these modalities of healing I talk about on my channel quite frequently, and I'll just name a few right now that have come up to me in this book, The Body Keeps the Score, Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma, and things that I have personally taken advantage of, because they have also radically shifted my experience and radically shifted my life and how I go about healing and just my overall general experience of life. So the first one that I always talk about on here, because I'm telling you, it does incredible healing work within our mind and within our body, and that is, can you guess it? Meditation. Meditation, because meditation allows us to come into our body in a way that breeds us being disconnected from the thoughts and the emotions that come up in a healthy way. Not where we are intentionally disconnecting, but in a way where we can witness our internal experience without getting caught up in it. And this breeds a safety within our bodies, a safety within our being, and a safety when those emotions and those thoughts do come up. So meditation is a huge one. The second one is yoga. And yoga is another beautiful healing modality, because it gets us into our body in a very conscious way that allows us, similar to meditation, to become aware of our internal state, to become aware of our internal world while moving the energy that's at play within us. And slowly, as some of those unresolved emotions come up, through moving our body and through just going within, we start to release them. We start to heal them through that movement, through yoga. And of course, you can do this through many types of movement, whether it be dance, whether it be exercise, not necessarily as much moving, but also through singing. These intimate, personally intimate experiences where we can be conscious while moving our body or using our voice. These are deeply healing experiences. and one that I'm not too familiar with, but it goes a little bit deeper perhaps than meditation, or it's maybe a little bit more direct, that I have been recommended to and people have told me a lot about, is EMDR, which is, from what I understand, and again, I'm not educated on this, but I encourage you to research it and to Google it. EMDR, it has to do with being able to go through the different eye movements that you have with a light experience, and also therapy to support you, because the way that the light hits your eye will go into the areas within your brain, within your nervous system that have been affected by the trauma. So it brings them to the surface, and then you're able to move through them, process them through therapy. So something that you could consider researching. And then the last thing really is coaching is something that has been extremely beneficial for me personally. I've had several coaches now, and I've had a couple of therapists, and being able to verbally process and to get out what has been held within in a safe, supportive environment, in a non-judgmental environment, it is incredible to be in that loving place and not be judged, and just really to be heard and seen could be incredibly transformative. And I could say from my own experience, it has been incredibly transformative. Of course, as long as you are in the coaching relationship with somebody that you can really feel comfortable with, that you feel you vibe with, that you feel that you're safe with. And the same thing goes for therapists, right? And so these are just a few ways to really move through this, to really heal this, so that we can have that quality of life that we deserve, that we are entitled to, of course, as we put in the work to heal through these things. And so I just want to put these books out here one more time. One book that has been massively impactful to my life, and I think does an incredible job of going through the journey of healing, is How to Do the Work by Nicole Lepera. And the other book here is The Body Keeps the Score. This is an in-depth understanding of trauma and how to heal it. And this is by Bessel Kolk, if you're not familiar with it already. This is a incredibly popular book as well, just because it is so important to be learning that this is what's going on behind the scenes. So I hope that this lands for you. I hope that you could leave this video just feeling like, wow, this kind of changed my perspective on how I've been treating myself and how I can go about creating or uncovering this higher quality of life that I've wanted for so long. And of course, you know, the healing journey is a journey, and it does take work and some practice, but the reward at the end is just, it's so worth it. To be standing where I am today in comparison to where I was 8 years ago, I don't know if I would have really believed that I could get here, or I wasn't even really able to see what this looked like back then. So it's something that I really want to stress and get across here. So if this did land with you, of course, comments always get the community going. They teach me something. They teach other people who see your comments something, and I just want to hear what is in your mind, how this landed for you, how it resonated with you. And maybe specifically you have some experiences where you're like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense, that this experience translates to this behavior. There's many ways to be able to look at this. And so it would be wonderful to hear from you in the comments below. And if you want to have a private conversation on it, just hit me up on Instagram. You could do that right here or here, and we could have a conversation. Otherwise, support and community is really important in the healing journey, in my opinion. And so every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, New York time, I host about a 45-minute to an hour just group meditation. So we spend the first 10-15 minutes just talking, connecting, and I do a little educational piece on meditation or anxiety. We do about a 15-minute guided meditation, and then I open up the circle at the end so that we could just kind of connect with each other again. Big, like-minded group of people, and it's really nice to start our week and our Sunday that way. And of course, I talked about the benefits of meditation. And lastly, as I've talked about in some of my past videos here, I am really honored to be offering one-on-one coaching now, so that we can really take the different things that we talk about on my channel and put them into an approach that is personalized to what you have experienced and what you might be working with and the goals, the visions that you have for yourself. It's always nice to have that one-on-one experience so that you could really be seen in what you want to be seen in. So that is all I got for you today. Again, I would love to hear from you in the comments or on Instagram. And that's what I got. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video or down below. Either way, I am wishing you a beautiful rest of your day and a lot more ease, just knowing that you could be more compassionate with yourself and less critical of yourself, knowing that these are the things that are at play. Much, much love to you. I will see you very soon. Ciao.